And like I start to look at them and I see they all acknowledge me. And the next moment, like it's like this realization just hits me. And the words come out of my mouth, I'm becoming a shaman.
Three, two, one. Michael Vandenberg, what a pleasure it is to have you here today, my brother. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. And Michael, I like to lean into this, let people know you're a spiritual teacher in its own realm, but you know, people, even like myself, I call you a shaman to a certain degree. I know you don't really enjoy that label. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's really a teacher about plant medicine and the ability to tap into spirit. I find it very intriguing. I think it's an untapped market in today's world. And when did you realize, or when did you, I know a little bit about you, but just with the audience, I know you turned your mess into your message, pretty similar to what I did. If you can lean into it until today in terms of arriving at this place and making a significant difference in people's lives through plant medicine.
Sure. Thank you, Brett. And I actually, the other day, just to touch on that word shaman, the way I understand it is that you come to this earth with the shaman energy, or you come to this earth with, say, a spiritual energy to be a meditation teacher, or to be a teacher, or to be a fireman, or whatever. So I did come to this planet with the energy of the shaman. So it is in my blood, in my bones. It is what I am, and I cannot deny that. So. But these labels that people call us, you know, like lots of people will these days hold ceremony space and call themselves shamans, but don't really have a clue what's going on, you know. So there's a lot of, that going on as well. Absolutely. The point being, to answer your question in a nutshell, first I was taken through what I would call initiations, which was getting to know the dark side of life. Having gone through life, experiencing loss, experiencing the death of a wife and a child, experiencing lots of destruction in my life, and then taking the drug path and experiencing that, because intuitively I feel I was drawn to all of these things. It's not like we go sit and we plan, okay, today's the day I'm going to take drugs, you know. It kind of just happened. So for me, going into the drug world was my escape after my wife and my child's death. And so I explored that, I would say, to the maximum. And I got to a point where friends of mine and my family, my sister mostly, and my friend Werner was his name, or is his name, they helped me to get into rehab. I spent 8 months in Noport, a Christian care center. And that just got me out of the drug life and the drug world to just get me back to my center again, to get me clean again. After coming back from that, I was clean for quite a while, but then I went back into the drugs again, but only a little bit, just to play with it, just to touch it a little. I wasn't done with that path yet. But then also I went into gymming. So exercising and gym became my new drug. And one day, out of the blue, a friend of mine calls me and he says that, listen, I'm on my way to the jungle. I'm going into the Amazon jungle with some native shamans to take some ayahuasca. I was like, what the hell is that? So that sounds a bit nuts, you know, going to the Amazon jungle. Are you nuts, you know? And he starts explaining what this is and what he's going to do. And the next moment, I just get this overwhelming feeling and the words come out of my mouth. I think I'm going with. So, long story short, next moment I'm on a plane on my way into the Amazon jungle. So
incredible.
Yeah, it was quite incredible. But also I had to go clean, and I just felt like, again, intuitively I had to let go. That at that point I was still taking all kinds of drugs. I was on steroids. I was taking sleeping pills to sleep. So I had to go cold turkey because there wasn't a lot of time left for me to clean up for this process. And your vehicle, which is your body, needs to be very clean for this process.
Yes, yes.
But in any case, there was just this drive I had in me, a voice that told me that this needs to happen. And you've got to clean yourself up for this. Otherwise, you are not allowed to do this. So it's like, and also, I mean, they make it very clear with ayahuasca, if there are certain chemicals in your system that the ayahuasca clashes with, you can physically die. So that cleaning out process is quite important. So I went to the jungle for the first time and went through that experience, and it was a complete 180 degrees I did in my life. Complete 180.
Wow.
I was completely introduced to the spirit realm, to spirits, to the fact that everything is spirit. I mean, even this glass, not just the water, but even the glass is spirit. So I was introduced by that, or that exists in the jungle. And then before too much time went by, after coming back to Johannesburg, I knew that I had to get to the jungle as soon as possible again. So I went back into the jungle, not fully on the spiritual path yet. And I did a plant dieta, which is where you merge with the spirit of a plant by ingesting it, and also by going through certain ceremonies, and also restrictions in diet and so forth. And merging with a plant that's called Sanango. I was sitting in front of a kind of a panel of shamans, of maestros and curanderos, people from all parts of the world, actually, and also the native South American shamans sitting in front there. And the crowd I was with, which was about 40 people roughly, asking questions to the panel in front of them there. This is now in the jungle, in the Peruvian jungle, just outside of Iquitos. And they're asking questions, and we thick in this medicine process, so which brings up a lot of presence. So I was just getting more present and present and present. I was completely pulled into this conversation that was going on between everyone.
Was this through the medicine taking shape now, right? Like you,
yes.
People, I don't want to say tripping balls, but you're really experiencing this, right? And yes,
now you're sitting in front of in the Sanango, and I'm deep in the Sanango dieta, and the medicine is talking to me, and it's like in that space. It is a little bit like, as you say. And the next moment, I just see all the shamans, when they speak, they're starting to look at me. I'm like, okay, now I'm tripping.
Wow.
And like I start to look at them, and I see they all acknowledge me. And the next moment, like it's like this realization just hits me. And the words come out of my mouth, I'm becoming a shaman. And they all look at me, and the next thing I say is, I am a shaman.
Wow.
And then they look at me and they all go like, mm-hmm.
Wow.
So they all nod, and they acknowledge that I'm a shaman. So that just opened up a whole new world for me. And the next ceremony that I went into, the next ayahuasca ceremony I went into, I still remember now having this knowledge. One of the shamans looked at me and he said, let's expand you a little. And he gave me a fat shot of ayahuasca. Sure, but I got my ass handed to me.
Wow.
Yeah, those initiations just escalated, and initiations is more like spiritual initiations, you know, where they put you through the ringer. You know,
and I suppose for you to have a reference point, it was necessary for you to try out all the different plant medicines, the effects they have, etc., etc. So you actually found your calling during the ceremony. Does this often happen with novices, people that do this maybe for the first time, second or third time, like they've found a higher calling, a higher purpose?
Oh, definitely. You know, I've been lucky enough to be in ceremony space with many people. I want to say thousands of people, because I've been lucky enough, as I say, to be in that experience with holding space with people in medicine.
Yes.
And it's just, you just see the lights come on, you know, people having profound experiences, people just waking up and making that soul connection again, you know, because we get disconnected from our soul, we get disconnected from our purpose. And I've seen so many people being reconnected with their purpose, people going into ceremony and before ceremony, you know, they had all of these belief systems and habits like smoking, drinking alcohol. Not that it's bad things. I don't want to say anything is bad. It's just the choices that we have, you know, still taking drugs or, you know, eating food that is not good for them and or that's not good for their spirit or their energy. And after an experience like that, they change their diet, they change the way they look at things, they change everything about them change.
Incredible.
So,
incredible. And is that why it's become so popular? I mean, you have these psychedelic interventions, if you will, right? And as you say, people come there to get over addiction, cigarettes, and all that type of stuff. To me, it's such an untapped market, and yeah, I myself, of course, have had a beautiful experience with you, and I just want to before we even tap into that, I want to share. I want you to share with the incredible journey, right? Once someone commits, right, it's not just for everyone. You need to have a process before they actually go into the Amazon. I'd like you to just lean into that. What sort of process there is, and then what is the journey like? I mean, I know there's the little canals and the kilometers that you have to get right into the middle of the jungle, right? So here's a novice listening to this, and they're keen to jump on. What would the process be?
Okay, well, I can just speak a little bit about, well, a few processes here, but I say if you do want to experience plant medicine, you need to have a conversation with somebody first and find out everything that you can and find out from different facilitators what it takes and what the commitment is to go on this path. I mean, intuitively, certain people get drawn to go and do the Vipassana meditation in Worcester. Intuitively, certain people get drawn to go and do ayahuasca in the jungle. Other people get drawn to Machu Picchu to go and do San Pedro.
Yes.
You know, so, but your intuition will, you will just, this word will just drop and something will ping and you will feel, oh, I need to go do this. I need to look deeply into this. So that already, don't just go.
Yeah.
You know, find out what you can, and be mindful of feeling into your heart space about the person that you're listening to. And like I said before, people do any experience with me or with us, that it is very important for that person to have a consultation session with me first.
Yes.
Because if you're going to do this just as the next drug or the next fix, or just as an adventure, or just as this, as maybe an escape, it will not serve you what it can serve you.
Yes.
And the preparation is, there is a mental preparation and a physical preparation and a spiritual preparation that I feel every person needs to go through before they ingest any medicine.
Yes, yes. Okay, so now you get this intuition, you've given them the green light. I know that you turn a lot of people down, but however, so that you've got the green light now, just share with us, that trip is just incredible, man. Okay. It's like out of a movie.
So going to the Amazon jungle, if we can speak about that, like I said, the preparation is there, and then the planning comes about booking your tickets, your plane tickets, and it's about 3 flights to get to Pucallpa in Peru. And once you get into Pucallpa, that's where we join with you. Yes. And we all meet at a place there, at a hotel there or something, depending on what we book and where we book it. And then from there, it's about roughly a 5-hour boat trip to the camp in the jungle. So that takes you deep into the jungle. And the boat trip, you first on quite a big river, but then you go off the river into one of those little veins, and it is just absolutely breathtaking. You know, just the being on that river, and it's a tuk, 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 and the birds and the wildlife and just the plants. I mean, it's breathtaking, truly breathtaking. And you know, once you get off there, then you know, you get that feeling, I'm in the Amazon jungle now. Yeah. And things are real. This is happening.
This is real now, right?
This is real. You know?
I must tell you, so I did get a calling somehow to investigate this somehow, because I as you know, a lot of my clients with me, I teach consciousness, and so many of them are either interested or they inquire whether I've had, and so I also had a calling to use it as a reference point. And I was completely blown away by my experience. If I remember correctly, you gave me, it was like 5 grams of psilocybin and 1 gram or a bit of iboga mixed together. And I want to share with you, I went straight into this profound beauty. Now, it was something that I've experienced through consciousness. As you say, there's many paths to the mountaintop. But I just found it absolutely incredibly, it was just profoundly beautiful, this experience. And it reminded me back again what our true self is. And I know that's different for everybody. Some people have to deal with their dark side first before they enter the light and get complete with the incompletions in life. I find that that's a very powerful technique to use these days. Do you find that not many people go straight to the nirvana versus, having to go on that dark side journey and face these things in their lives first while they're experiencing the plant medicine?
Oh, definitely, Brett. For sure. Just explain a little bit about my perception and my experience in the medicine space when I am a part of the system that holds space and that keeps the space safe, so that the people in the space can experience only what they need to experience internally.
Yes,
so that no external influences can bother them in that space. And that is basically what a space holder does. They protect the space. They create a safe container that the people that are in the space can go as deep as what they feel necessary to work through their own darkness. But it is usually a process of experiencing the darkness that is inside of us, which is just in a form of belief systems that we are domesticated with, and all of these fears that we've picked up along the way, and the pain that we're carrying with us, and all of that. And like you also, you've walked a similar path than what I have, and the bit that we've communicated, where we've gone through that in physical life. We've been hammered. We've been dragged through it all left, right, and center. So going into the space, usually if it's a 4-hour process, usually it is also structured in such a way with the music and with the intention that usually for the first 2 hours for the average Joe, it can be quite an uncomfortable experience. Because all of that stuff is being pushed up to the surface because of the high frequency of the space. Then all of that stuff that can't calibrate at that frequency then is being pushed up to the surface for you to review. And that's why I also like to have consultation sessions with people before, so that they can be trained with practical application of how to work in the space, and how to, in their daily life as well, what to practically apply to eradicate this stuff when it comes up, and not just become it, or not just let it overtake you.
I must say, sorry, continue.
So, and usually then after the first 2 hours or so, it differs, the time differs, but then we shift the ceremony space into a more gentle space, into a more of a processing space. So first we push stuff to the surface, it's a gentle coming in, and then we push stuff to the surface, and there's a gentle at the end again. So specifically designed in this way for people to bring their stuff to the surface. I
must say, I felt very held in a very sacred way with the way you led the ceremony. It was, I felt secure, and I think that had a lot to do with my experience as well. So as you said, a lot of people claim to be shamans. They don't do those processes, right? You just come there and swallow this ayahuasca and you hope for the best. So advising anybody that's interested in this journey really to do your research first, and to connect with somebody like you, that it is a safe journey and it's a space journey. You know what intrigues me even more, though? Decades and decades ago, there's traces of even in religion, in the Hebrew times, where they would find traces of these things in brew, in the beer that they used to make in those times. I mean, there's a thing. I watch Joe Rogan sometimes, and he was doing an interview, I think it was with Graham Hancock and Timothy O'Leary, where they spoke about how how even they were even talking about Moses and the burning bush, right? That it was a DMT experience, right?
Yeah, in your terms, I think Moses was tripping balls.
Yeah, exactly, right. And of course, this is just their opinions and all this type of stuff. No one can really say, but I find that you can join those breadcrumbs. How do you feel that as well? Do you think that? I mean, there's even talk about how they used to use this stuff to really tap into this. Our brain and our mind has so much more power, and this used to escalate the process so much so that they figured out how to build those huge tons of rock formations that you see all around the world that was formed decades ago. They thought somehow that the psilocybin or psychedelic trip somehow engaged and gave them these superpowers.
Sure. Thank you, Brett. And I definitely agree with you. So I have gone into the medicine space and asked these questions because Amazing. A lot of it can be revealed by the medicine and in that space, you know. Yes. So I've looked at these questions myself, and I've also discovered that there's a very strong possibility yes. that is a very big part of our ancestors. And you know, medicine in this space and the shamans are as old as time. You know, this is as old as time, literally. It's been
incredible. Incredible. Yeah. And now, what is the difference between ayahuasca and psilocybin and LSD and all these type of things? There's a big difference, right? Or is it the same process?
Not at all. Not at all. Thank you for asking this question. So, yes. I think most of us know that the difference, just to speak about the practical difference, is if we just mention LSD as it is not a part of the plant kingdom because it is manufactured by a human. So it's human manufactured, and anything that is manufactured by a human has that energy in there. So, and it is not the whole spirit of the plant. Yes. So it can take you into a specific realm, but it's not going to take you into the spirit realm. And being having ingested all of these different things, I know LSD for me is a completely different experience. It is a very mind-opening, very quiet space. It can quiet the mind. It can help me to observe a lot of internal and external processes, but it's got nothing to do for me with the spirit realm. So that is my personal experience.
Yeah.
Now, going into the plant medicines, which is what I focus on, if we look at ayahuasca, you know, she's gentle, and it is a completely different process. It's another realm. I don't want to say it's a completely different process because you open ceremony space in the same way, but they work in different ways. You know, yes. So different rules need to be applied. Different processes need to be applied in that space.
Yes.
So with ayahuasca, I mean, it is the curanderos or the maestros that sing for the medicine, and that sing to bring certain spirits into the space. Where with mushrooms, it is a different process. You know, with San Pedro, it is a different process. So
yes.
And they all serve in a different way. They serve you in a, like San Pedro, for instance, would be a day process because it is father. It is connected to sun energy. It is masculine, so that would be done in the day. Where ayahuasca must be done in the evening. With mushrooms, I feel that it is more for me. It connects you more to the spirit realm. So you can enter that realm, and once in that realm, you can explore a lot more. The energy of it is definitely stronger in the evening, but for me, I feel it can also be explored during the day, which are also different processes, different ceremonial processes. But it is all must be respected, must be open in ceremony space. The space must be held and must be protected. But they give different things.
And how do you, I mean, I know just with me, I limit myself with people on retreats. You know, when I do international retreats, I limit people to 20. South Africa, I do 50. But even then, the energy to manage the process of the shift of consciousness can be quite a heavy process. And as a teacher, what sort of numbers do you do your ceremonies on? I would imagine it wouldn't be profitable to do a lot of people, rather concentrated on a few. Is that correct? Do you feel the same thing?
Well, I can tell you that you must add a few physical people in the space to assist you to hold the space. And the people that you add then to hold the space must also be trained properly. Yes. To be able to hold the container, because there's so much going on in that space, because energetically and spiritually, so many spirits that are coming out in that space, and it has to be managed correctly. So holding a space for smaller groups is a lot easier when you are not a lot of people. But again, now when we go to the jungle, then we can take that up, because we've got our native shamans there, our native maestros, that they come together and they can hold space for up to 20 people. Incredible. So going to the jungle, I mean, if we look at the company that I did my first experience with, may I mention them here?
Yeah, yes, please do, please do.
Oh yeah, it was Blue Morpho. They work just outside of Iquitos, and their shamans are extremely powerful. Their training is very in-depth, and they can hold space for up to 40 or more people in their blocker. Wow. So yeah, but it takes a lot of work, and it's quite a lot of chaos in that space that they have to manage, you know. So yeah. And it can easily turn into chaos, you know. It can very, very easily, the space can turn into chaos.
Wow, amazing. And just finally, Michael, I just want to, you know, religious people might look at this from the outside and say, you know, like, ooh, dark energy and all this type of stuff. But I know you as a person, and you have that Christianity blueprint inside you as well. And I find that very intriguing, and I find it very welcoming as well. What do you say to people that look at it from, you know, a different set of eyes to you?
Sure. Well, I say that go with your heart and let your heart guide you to whatever you need. And if you feel that this is not for you, then judge it in however you like. Yeah. I had to go through that process, and it was very scary for me, being so deeply connected to the Christ frequency as well, and to Christ and to Jesus itself, or himself. To go to the jungle the first time, there were so many belief systems that I had to break through, and so many fearful things that I had to face. But I can tell you that Jesus never left me, and I never left Jesus. Beautiful. So going through my whole shamanic experience, I never needed to let go of Jesus. I never needed to let go of Christ. Wow. And I choose to keep it like that. Yeah, I choose to keep the Christ frequency with me, with my medicine work, whatever I do.
I find that it's extremely welcoming, and also, you know, I think in today's day and age, I mean, you know, listening to our ancestors way back then to lead us, could lead us down funny waters. And so I really appreciate you keeping that strength behind everything, while at the same time using plant medicine and making a big difference in people's lives. Yeah, from my side, what an interesting conversation with you, my friend. Beautiful. I know that we're collaborating and we're opening up many possibilities for people to experience this. So I just want to thank you for your love today, and your presence always. Yeah, if there's any message you'd like to give us, any message that you'd like to share to the world as Michael.
Thank you. Yes. Something that immediately comes through is something that would be relevant right now, whenever this would be aired, but we're leading up to the end of 2020. So lots of dark things are going to come up to the surface, like we are in ceremony. So because how I'm experiencing it on the outside at the moment is, it's as if the whole of the planet is inside of a ceremony at the moment. And every few weeks they're upping the dose. You know, so that is going to bring all of our negative energies and stuff to the surface, but it's going to display for us in the external. So to learn to stay in that center and observe, where am I complaining, where am I blaming, and to let go of the complaining and blaming thing. And just go inside and say, okay, this is my peace. I choose to stay in my peace. And I can observe the external, but I'm going to stay with the truth of my faith. And my faith would be, I trust that everything is perfect in its design. Let it flow as it flows, because at the end of this, then we are breaking through to a new world. And that new world is going to be heaven.
Stunning, stunning. Heaven on earth, right inside of us. I think your birds behind you are tweeting, everyone's celebrating with your message. Namaste, my brother. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael, the spiritual teacher, the shaman, thank you. For a privilege and honor to have you on here today. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, sir. Yes, looking forward.
I hope you enjoyed this message and feel emotionally moved and touched about it. If you want more of the same, you know what to do. Hit the subscription button and the notification bell, and let's continue creating a ripple effect of love. Thank you.